Recently, the capital city of India, New Delhi, was rocked by a horrifying incident involving the brutal murder of a 27-year-old woman named Shraddha Walkar. This case is truly disturbing, as her life was not only taken by her live-in boyfriend, Aftab Poonawalla, but the crime went beyond a mere act of killing, as he callously dismembered her body into 35 parts, keeping the remains in his residence for months before finally disposing of them across the city. However, despite the insane brutality of this case, it is certainly not an isolated occurrence, as in this video, we will revisit some of the other horrifying crimes that deeply shook the entire nation of India. The fatal revenge. In June of 2022, the Karnataka authorities made a disturbing discovery when they stumbled upon the dismembered body parts of two women near water canals, cruelly discarded approximately 25 kilometers apart. The upper sections of the victims' bodies were missing, with only the lower parts being recovered. After several weeks of diligent efforts to locate the family of a missing woman from Chamrajnagar, the police were able to establish the identity of one of the victims. By examining her phone records, the culprits were successfully traced. Siddhalingappa, aged 35, and his girlfriend, Chandrakala, confessed to the killing of 3 women, and shockingly divulged that their intended targets included an additional 5 women who, according to their claims, had allegedly coerced Chandrakala into engaging in prostitution. Bengaluru police officials said that the killer's family did not suspect him and were unaware of his activities. Siddhalingappa was working at a factory in the Pina area, but on questioning the family, they said he used to say that he was always travelling, and gave reasons, so they didn't suspect him of any wrongdoing. Nevertheless, Siddhalingappa is still awaiting sentencing, but it is likely he will receive a life sentence for his crimes. The Death Row Sisters. Dubbed the Killer Sisters, Renuka Shinde and Seema Gavit, accompanied by their mother Anjana Bai, engaged in a disturbing series of crimes that led to them becoming the first women on death row in India. Their crimes involved the abduction of 13 children, all under the age of 5, who were then exploited for petty theft and begging purposes. When the children posed challenges or resisted their commands, the sisters resorted to brutal acts of violence, resulting in their gruesome deaths and subsequent disposal of their lifeless bodies. Shockingly, one child was hung upside down from an electric pole, while another toddler's head was mercilessly slammed against a wall until his life was extinguished. This reign of terror persisted for 6 years, spanning from 1990 to 1996, until their eventual apprehension. The sisters' mother, Anjana Bai, passed away in prison due to deteriorating health, while the sisters received death sentences. However, in December of 2021, their death penalties were commuted to life imprisonment by the court, and they are still currently incarcerated at Yowada jail. The human sacrifice. In another startling incident that took place just last year, 2 women fell victim to a gruesome human sacrifice ritual within the small state of Kerala. Reports suggest that the bodies of the victims were also dismembered before being buried in separate locations across India. Shockingly, one of the victims' remains were mutilated into a staggering 56 pieces, while the other suffered the removal of her breasts. But both women were said to have met their tragic demise by strangulation. After an intense investigation by the Indian Kerala police, 2 suspects were eventually arrested on the 11th of October in connection to the case, a couple named Bhagaval and Layla Singh. Upon searching their home, Kerala police managed to discover some of the dismembered remains of the victims callously buried in their backyard. Allegedly, Bhagaval Singh and his wife Layla were coerced into carrying out this heinous act in pursuit of financial gains, but this information is yet to be verified. The Sacred Cyanide. K.D. Kempama, notorious as Cyanide Malika, perpetrated the murders of 6 women from 1999 to 2007. Her victims were specifically chosen among female worshippers in Bengaluru's temples, where she would manipulate them into participating into strange rituals. Under the guise of offering sacred water and food, she spiked their drinks with cyanide and took their lives in the process. However, when the Cyanide Malika killed a Bengaluru-based woman named Renuka in 2006, the police recovered her body from a guest house, and clues found at the residence during the investigation led to the discovery of a suspect named Jayama, who later turned out to be Cyanide Malika. While the police were trying to catch hold of her, she had already moved on to her next prey, a woman named Nagveni. K.D. Kampama had called Nagveni for a special ritual, and as usual, made her consume cyanide and fled with her jewellery. When the police eventually caught up to her, they found the jewellery on her person and were able to arrest her on the spot. So in 2007, Kempama went to trial and was ultimately handed a sentence of rigorous life imprisonment for her crime. The Butcher of Delhi. From 1998 to 2007, the infamous Butcher of Delhi was active in his local area committing heinous acts. Otherwise known as Chandrakant Jha, the butcher was originally a migrant labourer who hailed from Bihar, but friends and family had no idea what he was getting up to in his spare time. During his reign of terror, Jha managed to take the lives of 18 people, but interestingly, he would only commit these crimes after 8 p.m, and each murder came with a strange ritual. He would tie the victims' hands together, and while they watched, he would eat his dinner and watch TV in front of their desperate eyes. He would then cut off their head and dispose of it in the local river, as he genuinely believed this would give him good fortune. But to make the situation even more depraved, Jha would taunt the police by leaving body parts outside the Jihar jail, along with cryptic notes, daring the police to catch him. But he was eventually caught, as on October the 20th, 2006, a mutilated body was discovered in front of Tihar jail, following a tip from an anonymous caller. As always, a letter was found next to the body, and in this letter, the perpetrator directed profanities towards the Delhi police, and brazenly challenged them to apprehend him, as he normally did. 2 additional bodies were subsequently found on April 25th and May 18th in 2007. Sub-Inspector Narendra Pahalwan, upon observing the pattern of these murders, was reminded of a case he had investigated back in 1998. Recognizing the resemblance, he promptly alerted his network of informants and learned that an individual matching the description of the current suspect had been frequenting a clinic in the Azadpur area. Sundar Singh and his team promptly visited the clinic owner, who disclosed the name of the accused as Chandrakant Jha, and revealed that he had been a regular visitor. While utilising this information, they apprehended the murderer, and to their astonishment, he confessed to his crimes. After finally being brought to justice, he was accused of brutally murdering approximately 20 fellow migrant workers in Delhi. It was discovered that he had been dismembering his victims' bodies and would pack them into baskets. But thankfully, Jha was sent to prison for his crimes, and is now incarcerated and serving a life sentence. There are several more incredibly brutal cases that have occurred in India that I wasn't able to cover today, such as the senseless crimes of Mohinder Singh Pandey, a wealthy businessman who was later convicted for human trafficking as well as real-life cannibalism. So if you would like a part 2, please let me know in the comments and I will get working on it. But until then, check out my recent video which details 27 true crime cases from around the world.